3, 2, 1, go. So yeah, this is Phoenix Wright, Ace Attorney. We are basically a rookie attorney, and we're gonna solve some murder cases.
Yeah, indeed.
So yeah, while we see the interlude of the first case, let me quickly introduce myself. My name is Crrool. With me on commentary is Boxmeister. Currently holding the #2 time on this game, but you know, the gap between me and the #1 is quite big. So hope we'll get those issues fixed real quick. Yeah, this is Mr. Frank Saad. He supposedly is gonna blame somebody for a murder.
Looks like Phoenix Wright is now sweating bullets as he's awaiting in the defense lobby for his first case. Talking to his boss, Mia Fey, and his client, Larry Butts.
You know, there's always this saying, when something smells...
It's gotta be the Butts.
It's usually the Butts. It always is. So yeah, basic story here is some lady got murdered in her apartment, hit by a statue. And we're gonna do our best to defend her in court, or defend our client, Larry Butts, who's her boyfriend. We're gonna try to defend him in court.
And this is more like a tutorial case, so the judge asks you questions of who's the victim, and how was she murdered. So the victim is Cindy Stone, and she was murdered with a blunt object.
Yeah, specifically this statue of the Thinker, and that statue is going to be important in a little bit. First off, they're going to get Larry Butts himself onto the stage, so let's see what he's got to say. He's quite mad there, isn't he?
Yeah.
Quite an angry guy, but...
a little bit overly emotional.
Turns out that the victim, Cindy, she had a couple of sugar daddies. It's
well, isn't that sweet?
So you get to see her passport. She apparently traveled to France fairly recently.
Yeah, and the prosecutor, Winston Payne, wastes no time in establishing the motive of Larry. And he tells his first lie on the stand already, courtesy of us.
So yeah, we're instantly just going to move on to a witness, because there was a witness at the scene as well. Not only does he have a motive, but somebody actually saw it. This is Mr. Frank Saad.
No pun intended.
And we're immediately going to get into one of the harder segments of the first case. We're going to have to present a piece of evidence here. This will be a hard one, so I'm going to focus for a little bit. Basically, we have to cross-examine witnesses and find their lies.
Basically, our witness saw our client.
Hold on.
Leaving the apartment at 1 p.m. However,
so yeah, I almost went too early there. That would have been bad. Very slow there, but that's okay. But yeah, she wasn't killed at 1 p.m. She was killed at 4 p.m. That's a 3-hour gap. That's quite a gap.
Indeed.
But it's all right. It's all right. Mr. Frank Saad knows. He has an explanation for it. It's okay.
Obviously.
Kun je even vragen of die boksen wat naar beneden kunnen?
Jasper. De boksen wat zachter.
So he tells us that he was probably hearing a recording of the television. That's kind of weird because there was a blackout.
Indeed.
So,
no power.
No power means no television. That means they kind of heard a recording.
Must be a hard time with a blackout.
Yeah.
He's getting more nervous.
He saw it. Okay, he saw the time. I mean, the murder weapon was a clock after all, so clearly that would have shown him the time.
However, the big question will be, How?
How? Because that does not really look like a clock, does it?
Yeah.
So yeah, that clock, or quote-unquote clock, was a statue. She was killed with a statue, not a clock. So that's kind of weird.
It explains the statue is actually a clock. However, to know that this statue actually is a clock, he must have went into the apartment.
Exactly, and that's putting him right on the spot there. It's quite interesting that he managed to know it. And we're basically just going to blame him, you know. That makes it so that he might very well be the murderer.
Yeah.
And this is like the best scene here. So he's quite mad at us, but
Wig slap.
I mean, we have an easy way of proving, of course, that that it would be so by just sounding the clock.
And guess what?
It's 8:25, but it's 11:25, isn't it?
Yeah.
That's weird. That's a 3-hour 3-hour gap. I've heard that before.
Indeed. It explains his earlier testimony discrepancy.
Now, the only interesting thing would be is, you know, was the clock actually off at the time of the murder?
Yeah.
Because it might have not been.
This time Mia butts in and tells us to think outside of the box.
It turns out that the victim, she'd been to Paris the week before or so, and that means a 9-hour time difference. So the clock wasn't 3 hours early, it was 9 hours late.
Indeed. Yeah, 9 hours late. Because this is Japan-California. Obviously somewhere in the United States, according to the English version.
So yeah, with that out of the way, we pretty much proved Mr. Frank saw it. Was actually Mr. Frank did it. So with that, we solved the first case, and we're going to move on to the second one.
Nice confetti.
Court is adjourned. Now,
Indeed.
this is like, the next bit here is the only skip that we have in this game. There's a couple text boxes that we can skip by presenting certain items, and I will do just that in a little bit. You probably got the general idea of this game at this point. It's a whole lot of menuing. This game is literally 2 hours and 20 minutes of menuing, roughly, so it'll be interesting.
It's a visual novel, and we basically, it's like reading a book, but we read it at 2 pages per second, so like...
Pretty much, pretty much. Yeah, here we should be able to show him something that helped and blah blah blah, make him happy, but we're just gonna show the badge, skip some dialogue, makes it a little bit faster.
Larry's not the brightest, he's happy with our badge. Somewhat.
That was actually a pretty rough first case. Lost like half a minute there. That's okay though.
However, this statue is something we will see again very shortly.
With that, we're going to start case 2, Turnabout Sisters. And again, we're going to start off with a little bit of a cutscene. Basically, every single one of these starts off with a cutscene, and we get to hear about some other girl that Mia is talking to.
And turns out it's her sister, Maya Faye.
Yep.
We'll see Maya shortly. However, Mia is assaulted by the statue of the thinker.
And here we get to hear a very important piece of text. Keep this one in mind, it's going to be important later. Red, white, blue.
Obviously not a reference to our national flag here.
Obviously. So yeah, we come into the office here and it's really quiet and something's off and it smells like blood. Blood, that's not a good thing.
And the office is in a mess, and there we see it, our dead chief. Rip Mia.
Can I get some Bible thumbs in chat for Mia's death? Poor Mia. She taught us so much. She died way too young here.
She's only 2 years older than we are, I think. 3 years.
Something like that, yeah. So we're gonna examine a bit here.
Murder weapon. Which was not intended, probably.
No, I was intending to hit Mia herself there. That's okay.
We find some blush shards.
It's my first time actually running this game on console, so it's a little awkward. But that's okay. We'll
and
get
we
through.
see a note with a bloody name on it. Maya.
So just as we are about to call the police, we hear somebody scream from across the window, calling the police for us.
And right now, the girl wakes up and turns out she's Maya.
Present.
Maya Faye. Also, her name is on the note, so what's happening?
It's kind of weird that her name would be on a death note, pretty much.
Indeed.
So yeah, obviously the detective comes running in. And, well, it's pretty decisive evidence. I mean,
Yeah.
we have the name on the note written in the victim's blood by her last breath. That's kind of decisive, isn't it?
And right here we get introduced to the detective. We see him on most of our cases, Dick Gumshoe.
Yeah, he's a cool guy.
Gumshoe is awesome.
So yeah, we're just gonna talk a bit about the case and about who she is and about her sister and all that.
Yeah.
You know, get a little bit of information from who Maya actually is.
Right now, Maya is in need of an attorney.
Yeah, that's kind of a thing. We're gonna have to make sure that she gets some form of defense, because she's gonna need that. She wrote us a memo to ask one of the detectives, where Mia always said, you know, if you're ever in trouble, go to this guy.
Yeah.
So we'll bring him the note. It'll be okay. We also get to hear about spirit mediums. She's actually a spirit medium in trading. Her mother was a pretty famous medium, but then during a case 15 years ago, she kind of got
sidetracked and disappeared.
yeah. Actually, I need to also go here real quick.
And that's the detective. He confuses our name with the name of our client of our first case, Larry Butts. He's a bit of a chaotic individual, to say the least.
Quite so, quite so. But he means no harm. He's a cool guy.
He cheers up the mood.
So we're gonna give him the note, and that's gonna get us the phone, which supposedly has some records that might actually help us.
Yep. And he tells us not to try to influence the witness, the lady who called the police screaming.
So yeah, we might as well look up this witness, shall we?
April, May. No pun intended again.
So it looked like something is in that drawer, but we don't actually get a chance to investigate as to what it actually is.
To be fair, we are doing an invasion of our privacy.
That is fair, that is fair.
And this is Marvin Grossberg, the attorney Maya asked for, and which Mia recommended.
I mean, he's got to be a good attorney, right, if Mia recommends him.
However, he's refusing Maya's case. He can't take it, for some reason.
It's kind of weird. Why would he refuse the case?
Especially since Mia was one of his former employees. And Maya's abandoned by the one attorney Mia recommended. And still shocked by finding her sister dead. She doesn't know where her mother is, so she has no one, all alone on the world.
So
However,
we're gonna defend her because she needs somebody. We can't just abandon her, right? It reminds us of
our childhood.
our childhood. We'll get back into that later on in the run. We'll go a bit more in depth later. We'll get back to that, but
Phoenix now starts his proper investigation and goes to talk to the witness once again.
she's not here though. That might just give us a bit of an opportunity to check out what the hell was in that drawer.
Indeed.
I'm kind of curious now.
So let's see. In that drawer
It's
is...
a wiretap? Why the hell would there be a wiretap?
Sounds like she's eavesdropping on some telephone conversations.
That's kind of awkward.
Indeed.
Why the hell would she do that?
So our investigation for the first day is over, and this is where the first trial segment of this case starts.
Yeah, so this time we're up against Miles Edgeworth. He's still a fairly young prosecutor, but he's never lost a case
He's
so
a
far.
genius.
Yeah,
He's also a stick in the butt.
pretty much, yeah.
So here Gumshoe gives an overview, short overview of the case. Nicely drawn map.
You know, he's going to tell us a bit about why they arrested Maya. We kind of already know that. I mean, the note was pretty clear there.
Yeah. Here Maya slips us some information that we can press their statements to ask for more clarification or to ask for more details. And that's what we're going to do here.
So yeah, he tells us a bit about about the hard evidence they got against her.
Indeed.
I mean, it was pretty convincing, but we'll see if we can do something with that evidence that we found.
Yeah, he's talking about the note here.
Yep.
And he says Mia must have written the killer's name herself. However, according to the autopsy report, she died instantly. So that would give her no time.
How would she write the note if she died immediately? So that's kind of weird. That immediately blows a hole into this case.
However,
then there's Edgeworth. He asked us when we got it. We got the report the day after the murder, and he tells us that the note is the report is actually outdated. A newer version came out.
yeah.
We're just gonna call him a sham, because you know it's the least amount of text.
Edgeworth's reputation, there's also been a lot of rumors about Edgeworth that he's been falsifying evidence, so he has a little bit of a bad reputation.
Yeah, but he's never been able to get caught on it, so, you know, it's all just speculation.
Indeed.
And thus they call the witness to the stand, Miss April May. We've seen her before a little bit. Remember that wiretap, though? That's still kind of strange.
And basically she captures the heart of almost every man in the courtroom with her first impression.
Yeah, so she's going to give us a witness account here. And, you know, I mean, she's kind of convinced the judge to not let us need to cross-examine her.
Yeah.
But we figure that's probably going to be important, so we're doing it. We're going to cross-examine her.
Otherwise it would have been over pretty quickly for Maya.
So we're going to ask her a bit about what she actually saw, and she mentions that, you know, she saw the girl, she had a girlish physique, clearly, and we're going to claim that she saw nothing. I mean, look at Maya, she's not your typical girl, at least.
Yeah. Yeah, Maya stands out in terms of fashion-wise, at least. The witness, however, shows some cracks in her facade. And now she reports that she saw Maya strike her down with a clock. And this is a bit odd. I mean, just as the previous case, how did she know this?
I mean, how would she know that it was a clock? So, I mean, she mentions that, you know, she just heard the clock, which is how she knew it. Which is a convincing argument, generally. I mean, the window was right next to ours. There is one little problem with it. The clock that she mentions it couldn't actually have rung.
Yeah, because the inside mechanism has been pulled out.
So we're going to claim that the clock was empty. And I mean, if we open up the thing, we know that it is. So that seems pretty convincing right there. Edgeworth, however, he's not quite so convinced because, you know, how do we know it was empty at the time of the murder?
Exactly. However, we have some evidence up our sleeve.
We're not quite done just yet. Because we have this phone call from a few days before, or like 2 days before or something, I think it was. I'm not quite sure. That
My cell phone.
that the clockwork was removed. So, listening to that recording, we know that the clock was indeed empty, and she couldn't have heard it.
Yeah.
So then the question becomes, how the hell did she know it was a clock? It's kind of the same thing all over again as we had with Mr. Frank Saw It.
And, well, Phoenix this time will...
So she mentions that she saw it in another store and that's how she know. But it's a one-of-a-kind clock, so...
And here she snaps.
Quite a bit less friendly all of a sudden there.
Look at the twitching.
So now we need to find out why the hell she knew that it was a clock and what she's got to do with it. Kind of to, you know...
We already knew why she knew.
Yeah, we do. So we're not convinced that she's the murderer, but we know that she was wiretapping the victim, so she would have heard about it. So Edgeworth tries to claim that this is irrelevant to the case, but I mean, I would say that it's definitely not.
It's relevant. It's definitely relevant.
So he claims it's quite ridiculous, but we're not so sure.
She insults us for lawyer, which really is, well, yeah, crocodile tears.
So now we're gonna ask, you know, why the wiretap? Why did she need to wiretap Mia? Why does she have a window right across from the street, from the alley there?
It sounds like a setup.
Yeah, it's quite suspicious, to say the least. But we can't prove that she was the murderer because she actually had coffee delivered right to her door.
At 9 p.m., so she has an alibi.
Yeah, the bellboy saw her. So we're gonna call in the bellboy as a witness.
Edgeworth isn't going to let us slip past so easily. He says if we can't find any contradictions, the case is done. Our defendant gets found guilty.
So let's get that bellboy on the stand, shall we?
Indeed. Totally composed. Well, from the testimony we can see that the bellboy is pretty smitten with the witness, April May. And he got the order to deliver coffee at exactly 9 p.m. So he made sure to be on time.
And the witness gave him a kiss apparently, so he remembers that quite well.
Yeah.
So we're gonna protest. I mean, we didn't really find anything, so we're gonna ask if we can ask one more question. We're gonna ask about the check-in here. Other options would work as well, but this is the fastest amount of text that we can get. And it turns out she wasn't alone during check-in. There was another person.
Yeah. Indeed.
Edgeworth with his best line. I object. That seems objectionable.
Well.
Very much so. but
Overruled.
overruled, of course. So here we go.
And it seems like Edgewood was trying to get this other person hidden. However, it turns out he was nowhere in the room at the time of the coffee delivery, so that leaves him unaccounted for, which means we might possibly have another suspect.
I mean, considering the wiretap, considering the fact they had specifically that room, it would not seem too unlikely, no.
Indeed. Seems to a bit...
Bit suspicious, to say the least, and at this point we cannot prove Maya guilty on what we now know.
Yep.
We're not quite done though, we haven't proven her innocent just yet.
So we're going into another day of investigation. Time to find this other man.
Okay, so this is a fairly long day of investigation, and menuing in these investigations is really tight. So I'm gonna have to focus. I'll let my co-commentator do the work for me.
So right now we're visiting Groesbeck, but he's not there, and something obvious, something seems different about his office. We'll look into that later, and we find some specific photos on his desk. This photo of this man. Maybe we can do something with that.
Yeah, we'll go to the hotel and we'll ask the bellboy.
Who knows, he might actually recognize the man on the photo. And he actually does. As it's the person who checked in together with April May. And the bellboy gives us some testimony, so let's pressure April May. Because she's keeping silent. However, now she doesn't have stand any chance against us because we got a witness account on him.
So it turns out this guy is Red White, the owner of Blue Corp.
Red, white, blue.
Where have we heard that before?
I don't know.
That sounds awfully familiar, but okay.
Getting a bit of a deja vu.
Let's go talk to this Red White of Blue Corp.
And his office, well, there seems something familiar in this office. And he confirms that April May works for Blue Corp. And he says that the courts are only mere toys to him. And he just punches Phoenix Wright.
That's quite mean.
Indeed.
But, I guess we'll get out of here.
Saying that we shouldn't poke our noses around in his business. Well,
maybe Grossberg knows more about this guy. I mean, if he's getting blackmailed, he's got something to do with it, that's for sure.
Yeah. And we question him why the big painting in his office is
The
gone.
third option there, by the way, was the two were lovers. Best option in the game, clearly.
Yeah.
But
don't think too much about it, especially if you're a visual thinker.
but yeah, we're gonna claim that he was being blackmailed there.
And it's a bingo. And we're looking into some into Mia's office.
We actually find a note, an article from Red White of Blue Corp.
Indeed. And this
Quite suspicious indeed.
Indeed, and this article is about the suicide of some politician. And we pressure this Red White as he has to do something with it, and Mia has a file on him, which makes it very suspicious that Mia is now dead and the file seems gone.
He does, however, now say, you know, I'll testify in court.
Against you.
Yeah, he wasn't intending to testify at any point. He wanted to stay away from it, but, you know, that's okay.
He's going to put the blame on us and says he's going to arrange things so we can get a wordless lawyer. However, Phoenix, being the inventive lawyer he is, works around it.
I guess we'll have time for a quick donation.
Yay! So Phoenix Wright is going in full steam ahead. He's going to defend himself, which is a bit unusual to say the least.
That's okay though.
We got Maya to support us. And Edgeworth confronts us. And Phoenix says that he's changed. So apparently he knows the man. So right now we're up to the second trial segment of this case.
He's gonna call in Mr. White of Blue Corp to the stand. So let's go make him testify. See what he has to say.
Yeah, he makes a dazzling appearance with all his jewels. And he says he witnessed the murder from the hotel room and saw Phoenix kill Mia. Well, he's not really specific here.
Let's go press him a little bit.
And she said that we gave chase and that she dodged to the left. However, this is
Hold on, I need to make sure.
However, this is not exactly as it happened, as April May testified.
I'm kind of lost here. Hold on 1 second. We'll get through it. I overmashed a little bit, and that can be really bad in this game.
Yeah, and these messages...
they take forever.
Yeah, the penalty messages can't be sped up like the other text does.
Okay,
That
there
one.
we go. There we go. Okay, bit slow there, but that's okay. It's first major mistake, I think, the entire run so far,
Yeah.
so it's alright.
April May said that Mia ran to the right. However, what Red White says she ran to the left, which is illogical because she would be backed into a corner.
Unless, well, both could be right, actually. There is one scenario where both of them would be. What if he wasn't there?
Yeah. However, it would happen if he would have been at this very specific place, obviously.
Let's point out that spot, shall we?
Yeah, pretty obviously, if he would have stood where the killer was standing. Rapscallion, the best reply. However, he says that he has an explanation for this discrepancy. I'm not sure. He says, you hit her twice. She first ran to the left, you hit her, and she ran to the right. Problem solved. However, this also presents us with a different kind of contradiction. Namely, that she was hit only once, according to the autopsy report. And this his story is rattling a bit. And he's lying. And
But at this point, the audience knows what's up, and they're coming to, or they're pretty much just cheering us on at this point.
yeah, well, his story is getting weaker and weaker at each revision. Building lies upon lies.
He also saw a thing fall, apparently.
And he saw the glass stand fall. However, this glass stand was not in the line of view from the hotel room window, he could not have seen it.
No, if we look at the floor plans, we can actually prove that, you know, at that point, like by the point he would be able to see it, it would not be recognizable as a glass stand, let's be real. So, quite curious indeed. Like, how the hell would he know that?
Yeah. Right here, Red White is on the point of breaking.
But,
And it looks like we have the case solved. However, this is the point where Edgeworth butts in once again.
yeah, I kind of forgot about the fact that he was still here. He's gonna mention, you know, the wiretap.
And the question's when it was placed.
And by whom, for that matter.
And Red White mentions that he broke into the office 2 weeks earlier and saw the glass stand back then. And when he heard the sound of glass breaking, he would have figured that it was that stand. So right now, we're stuck. Red White made a complete recovery testimony-wise.
It's, I guess we've got to press this guy. We need to somehow find a hole into the story.
Indeed. So we're going to press every single detail we can get.
Actually, we're not going to press all of them, because some of them aren't actually required, but hey. So yeah, Edgeworth, he's basically going to object to everything we try to do.
Yeah. A wall of objections.
So we only press the first 4 here, the rest of them we don't actually need to press.
End of testimony, and then...
Well, we didn't really find anything there. That's,
Yeah, at this point, he's so desperate, he sees a ghost.
Wait, did we just see the ghost of Mia? I thought she was dead.
Yeah, that's a little bit unexpected. He wakes up and he sees the ghost again.
What the hell is going on? We're seeing ghosts right now. This is not good.
Is it a ghost though? Or is it actually...
Let me look clearly. Wait.
Maya.
It's Maya. So yeah, as we mentioned before, Maya is a spirit medium and she quite literally can summon a ghost inside of her, so...
She's channeling Mia right now.
Uh,
And Mia gives us the leads that helps us put a nail into the coffin of a person named Red White. As the note that the Maya's name was written on was actually a receipt. A receipt for a certain glass stand bought on the day of the murder. Which contradicts...
That's quite the contradiction.
As Red White claims he saw the glass stand the week before. However, the glass stand was bought on the day of the murder.
A day before the murder, actually, but...
Yeah.
I mean, the story doesn't hold up all the same.
Quite suspicious, and Chet agrees with us.
But then there's Edgeworth. Because, you know, everything we've said so far is...
Circumstantial.
It's circumstantial evidence. It doesn't prove a thing.
It proves the possibility. And Edgeworth wants to stretch the trial for another day. However, this would be pretty bad for us, as it would allow some revised things to appear. He could alter the truth. It's a bad position, as we can't defend ourselves. We won't last.
Yeah,
However,
so Mia, she decides to slip us a note. We're gonna... It's a list of names, basically, and we're just gonna read it out. And at some point, this guy just cracks, and he confesses.
Yeah.
I mean... It's kind of a weird way to win a case, but
yeah,
that list was basically all of the...
Phoenix Expression says the most here.
Yeah, the list, it was basically a list of names of all the people he's ruined the lives of, so... Quite something, but he confesses, so, you know, case solved. It's over.
Edgeworth is really mad at us.
I would imagine it's his first lost case ever.
Indeed. And Mia saved our butt. And she asks us to come to the Faye and Co law offices. And right there we find Maya once again. Mia has left the body. And Mia has left a letter stating that she leaves the office to us.
Yep, it's quite a sad way to go, but
Yeah.
we're not alone, and neither is Maya. It's
Indeed.
the start of quite a beautiful friendship, if I do say so myself.
The dynamic duo.
So now we come to the case that I'm personally the least familiar with, and he's the most familiar with. So
I
you
like
know,
this case.
this is quite an
And it
interesting
starts
case.
pretty amazing. The pale moon in the sky cries for your blood. An epic showdown across the ages.
So welcome to Case 3, Turnabout Samurai.
And it's the Steel Samurai versus the Evil Magistrate, and one weapon is struck down. And obviously, this battle will continue on next week's episode. Wait, what? Episode?
Episode? Wait, what? That was a show we were watching?
Ah.
That looked so awesome, though.
And obviously, Maya is a big fan of the show. Waving around with a broom, almost hurting us. Yeah, Phoenix is not too enthusiastic about the Steel Samurai show.
That's okay, though.
And Maya forces us to watch it. However, next morning we get called by Maya, get to the office because it's an emergency. As the Steel Samurai has been arrested for murder. Murdering a villain. Well, in the real life. Wait, what?
Wait, is this the show? Well, I thought he was supposed to kill the villain, right?
Yeah.
But in the real world? Wait, this is...
It turns out the actor of who plays the Steel Samurai is a suspect in the murder case. And Maya wants us to defend him. Well, she has a little bit of a doubt here when she sees our defendant. He's a bit intimidating in terms of appearance. But he's really soft on the inside. Aww. So we take his case. We asked him what exactly happened. Well, apparently his colleague actor who played the evil magistrate, the villain in the show, was found murdered in the studio. So he wants us to investigate. So right now we try to move to the scene of crime at Global Studios. However, we run into this troublesome security guard.
She's quite something.
Yeah, she's a piece of work. And she's just blabbering around, complaining about the youth nowadays.
Sounds like a classic old security lady, right?
Yeah, and she's not gonna let us in, not until we get some proof by Will Powers, no pun intended, our client, that we actually defend him. And she actually says that she saw our defendant move towards the scene of crime, as the only one who passed that day.
It's very easy to hit the third one there. That's one part where I've made a mistake way too often, so luckily I didn't this time.
So will provide us with an affidavit that we actually defend him. So now the security lady buckles and let us in, and only allows us into the employee area. Maya snatches a map. And here we run into Dick Gumshoe again, who blames us for the case going badly, and Maya puts it back right at him, which makes him turn it down a notch. So he helps us. He's saying the security guard was pretty sweet to him, which is totally unfair. Gave him donuts.
Donuts.
However, the decisive evidence, the security lady we talked about, well, Dick Gumshoe wasn't really too well. He says the evidence leaves something to wish about. So right now we're going to the employee area to check the dressing room of a client, where he was supposedly sleeping during the murder. Do we have time for a donation?
Yeah, we can do a donation real quick.
Go ahead.
Hold on. Gotta make sure I do this one correctly here. So we're gonna examine the door here. We find a card key basically, and that's gonna give us access to Studio 1.
Indeed. And here we see this is the place where they found the body, and we see some chalk outline of where the body was found. Oh.
Feel free to do another one if you have it.
Is there another donation? Go ahead.
All right, we have a €1 donation from Udon saying, "Say this is a €420 donation." Oops, sorry, Udon. Also, so that Sander will dub, please. Thank you, though, Udon, for that donation.
Wait, was that a double donation? Okay, that's fair.
Yep. This is Penny Nichols. She's an assistant working at the studio, and she says there was a practice of an action scene that morning in the employee area. Will Powers sprained his ankle, but she hasn't seen them afterwards until the body was found, actually. So right now we're moving to the main gate, and well, the assistant...
Yeah, she claimed something quite different from what the security lady said. The security lady told us that she saw the... or that she saw the murderer pass by, but...
Yeah. Enraged as she is, she steps away, and this gives us a chance to retrieve a photo from the computer. Actually, the decisive evidence, and it shows the steel samurai on the photo. Not exactly Will Powers, to say the least. So, with this evidence in hand, we'll continue towards the first trial segment. See where we will end. So yeah, once again we're up against Edgewood. First, Dick Gumshoe will explain the circumstances of the crime. There was practice in the employee area in the morning with the director, actors and the security lady present. Body was found in Studio 1. They claim the victim went to the studio first, and afterwards the only one who they saw pass was the defendant, so they claim.
Yeah, so we can opt to cross-examine the testimony, but we don't actually find anything useful in there, so we're just gonna skip it.
And the security lady is quite smitten with Edgeworth, and he gets really upset about it, which is totally funny. Well, she says she saw Will Powers pass by her security booth, specifically Will Powers. However, The photo doesn't exactly show Will Powers, it shows the Steel Samurai. And although Will Powers plays the Steel Samurai in the show, he's not necessarily the one in the suit.
It's not quite so decisive then, is it? If it's not... I mean, he's the Steel Samurai, but that doesn't prove that it's him.
Yeah. However, she has another testimony, and even Edgeworth doesn't know of.
Well, let's hear it then. I mean, if Edgeworth didn't even hear it, that might give us a chance.
Well, she claims Will Powers sprained his ankle that morning, and that's why the Steel Samurai in the photo was limping, as, well, he had an ankle injury.
See, again, we're gonna have to basically press through everything to get some information. Thing is, we don't actually.
Yeah. The the Samurai Spear, the so-called murder weapon, broke during this accident and snapped cleanly in two and was repaired.
Repaired with duct tape for that. There's nothing you can't repair with duct tape.
Yeah.
It's a good life lesson right there. Phoenix Wright life lessons.
Yeah.
Hands down.
And they claim the one in the photo must have been Will Powers as he was limping. However, this is not so decisive as well. And the photo in question also gives rise to a contradiction, as it says photo number 2. So that means that there must exist another photo. So that means that the Steel Samurai isn't the only person who passed the security booth that day, or at least...
quite interesting then, because she did say that, you know, she was the only one, or the Steel Samurai was the only one to pass.
Yeah, and Edgeworth can't help her because he doesn't know either. However, she just remembered...
well, let's hear it then.
She remembers that often some fanboys sneak in. She deleted the photo of that fanboy, but she didn't thought it was important at the time, which is really, well, a bad excuse, to be honest. Seems like fanboys often sneak in through the grates at the employee area.
But, you know, we're talking about a fanboy that's like 2nd or 3rd grade, so...
Yeah,
definitely not strong enough to kill an old man.
Yeah.
Or rather a full-grown man. I don't necessarily want to call him old.
Yeah. An adult, basically.
Yeah, and I mean, he does his own stunts, doesn't he? So he must be physically quite strong as well.
Just as his Will Powers. No pun intended there. And nothing has changed. As the prosecution still claims that the only one who could have committed the crime was Will Powers. However, Phoenix presents another possible suspect, namely the security lady. As she would have been in the position to erase the photos. She knew of the injury and could fake the Steel Samurai appearing on the photos, knowing fully well that Will Powers would be blamed. She claims that she has no motive. However, Will Powers doesn't exactly have a motive either. One most likely with a motive would be the victim, as Will Powers has the main role in the Steel Samurai show. However, there's not enough information to continue the trial, so it's adjourned for another day, or so they think. However, the security lady objects.
Supposedly she has something she wasn't allowed to talk about. That's quite interesting.
Well, she says that at the day of the murder, the bigwigs or her bosses, the producer and director, were also at the studio. Basically. It would have been logical, as the director would need to be present at an action rehearsal.
That does seem about right. That at least, at the very least, the director would be there. But supposedly they were in Studio 2, and you know we couldn't. The path to Studio 2 was supposedly blocked.
Yeah.
So with that done, we're going to go into the hardest day of investigation in the entire game, pretty much. This next bit has got like the most menuing anywhere in the game.
Yeah, we're walking a lot back and forth between the various locations.
Casually, this thing is a maze. Like it's crazy.
No save. So we're going to go on investigation. First up is the main gate. Well, security lady isn't there as she's taken in for questioning, as we basically put the blame on her the other day. We find Penny, the assistant. She's covering up the grate on command of Oldback, and she's taking over the security station for her. And Maya is feeling a bit sorry for the fanboy, so she asks us to remove the crate cover. This is actually necessary, as it is required to advance the story.
Actually, hold on. We talked about one thing here. For a second there, I thought we didn't need to do any talking with her, but we do.
Yeah, we asked Penny if the director was present, and he was. Well, maybe we'll look for some clues. And in the dressing room we find, well, the director basically. Salmonella, again, no pun intended. He's the director of the Steel Samurai show. And, well, he's a bit of a creepy guy. And is struck with inspiration as he sees Maya for a new show called The Pink Princess, which will appear in later games. Trust me.
Yeah, this game itself is actually part of a trilogy, this being the first part of.
Yeah.
And they connect really nicely over the course of the entire trilogy. There are more games at this point, but you know we'll basically just mention the fact that it will the pieces of the story that you get in this game will come back in the later games.
Indeed.
Right,
Right now we're at Studio 2 and we hear some sounds inside the trailer. However, we can't open it. We don't have the keys. So we need to find a way around that. However, at the main gate we see that the Oldback, Wendy Oldback is her name, has returned. And she's gonna give us the cold shoulder and not tell us anything. And we spot the fanboy actually at the employee area. He's snuck in, and he's really talking. He's really not giving us a break. And the fanboy claims that he saw everything happen on the day of the murder, and then runs away. Wow. We also find a suspicious bottle here in the employee area. We get to that later. And we hear that the security lady is chasing the fanboy and is failing miserably. So we take the opportunity to get the key of that trailer we couldn't get into. So now we go to Studio 2. And are now in a position to enter the trailer. And inside this trailer we find Dee Vasquez, the producer of Global Studios. a very enigmatic lady at this point, not really fond of answering our questions, and she just wants to read. She just requires us to get something from Salmonella and isn't talking otherwise. So, well, basically we take a request back to Sal.
Which happens to be right on the other end of the studio. This is where that tons of menuing that I mentioned comes in.
Yeah, it's really obnoxious how much menuing has to be done on this section. So basically we give the request to Sal and he immediately says, well, I lost the script. She's asking for the script. And I probably left it at Studio 1. So right now we're going to Studio 1 to retrieve it. Well, he left it quite in plain sight on the director's seat. And this ladder is also famous for a certain ladder versus step ladder conversation. Look it up on the Ace Attorney sites. It's pretty lengthy dialogue between Maya and Phoenix. Ain't got no time for that. Oh, basically I want the opinion of the chat. Is it the step ladder or is it the ladder actually? Post your response in chat. So yeah, D. Vasquez mentions that the people at Studio 2 were locked, couldn't exit Studio 2 at the time as the head of the monkey statue had fallen over.
I'm sorry, Recalled. We had to kill the monkey statue.
Well, we didn't kill it, Storm did.
True enough, but you know.
And right now, back at the office, Mia appears. We're in trouble. We have not much leads, so Maya apparently manages to channel her. Well, she's not. The old lady has been chasing Cody for the past hour, and she wants the card key for Studio 1. She wants to pay respects to Jack Hammer, the victim, at the place where he supposedly died. And she gives us a Steel Samurai card, which she snatched from Cody, the fanboy. Well, Cody didn't respond well to Phoenix and Maya, but however he will respond a bit better to Mia. And she seems to be pretty good with kids.
Let's show him that card, those cards that we found.
Basically, we try to blackmail info out of him. However, he has a spare, so he says we can keep it. That's too bad, really.
Yeah, I mean, we can't really convince him like this, and we can't really get any information.
So we go back to the other side of the studio.
My bad. I misclicked. It happens. There we go.
This shows how tight the menuing is.
Okay, there. Yeah, I lost my track in the notes for a second there.
Yeah, we meet the assistant back in the trailer, and we show her the cards, and it turns out she's actually a big samurai card collector herself as well, and this is the one card she needs. So she trades an ultra rare, premium rare card with us.
Of course, we'll take the trade. Maybe Cody will respond to that card.
Indeed, and she goes off happily shouting that her collection is complete. So right now we go back to Cody, and maybe see if he responds better to that card.
Okay, almost done. The hard
And-
part is almost over.
And it turns out it's actually the one ultra premium rare card he needs, and he happily exchanges it with information to us. So yeah, he's really big fan of Steel Samurai. He has a photo collection of all the victory poses, or the finishing blows actually, of the Steel Samurai. Collected it into a nice little album, and he gives the album to Mia. However, he exactly saw the murder happening, sawing the Steel Samurai kill the victim, supposedly. So it would be bad as witness. However, Gumshoe hears this and he takes him in as a witness. So yeah, that's really bad for us. So basically, we need a miracle to work around at the next trial section, which is right now. Luckily, this time around we also have Mia as an aide. Things are looking a bit grim.
Quite so. I mean, if the kid was telling the truth, then it's pretty much like game, set, and match right here.
First off, we have a testimony by Salmonella about the events going on. Well, there was they talked about practice during the morning, about there being steak for lunch, which is pretty exquisite.
I could go for some steak, honestly.
I would go for some steak right now. Although at this time of day it would be a huge mistake. Or a missed steak actually, because the cell didn't eat it. Yeah, sorry for the puns there, Rico.
It's Phoenix, right? It's gotta happen.
However, Cell did contradict himself and said the other day that he actually managed to eat one steak, I believe.
Yeah, I think so.
So they took a break in their meeting at Studio 2, which could have been, well, which presents an opportunity.
But he's like, it was only a 15-minute break, so it would be way too short.
However, Edgeworth pulls the door on us as the people were trapped at Studio 2 at the time of the crime.
Yeah, I mean, that pretty much means that he couldn't have done it anyway.
Yeah,
So it doesn't help us
the
that
murder
much.
has happened at Studio 1, that wouldn't have been possible for them to commit the murder. And Edgeworth now comes with his prime witness, the fanboy, Cody. And, well, Cody is a bit too... Well...
You'll see, you'll see.
We'll brace ourselves.
So it's going to be an interesting... having a small kid testify here.
Yeah.
We'll see how far we can get, though.
And first problem, he's a bit too short for the stand. So they give him some crates to stand on.
I believe it's specifically a donut crate.
Yeah.
It's quite suiting that the courthouse would have just that for him.
Yeah. And Cody's not responding nicely to Edgeworth at all. He has the greatest difficulty to get his name out of him. And the judge says photographic equipment in the courtroom is forbidden. However, Cody won his bargain against Edgeworth and was allowed to keep it inside. So Cody snuck into the studios and he saw it happen.
Was that one too early?
Yeah.
That was one too early. Ah, that's dumb.
I
That's
think
on
you
me.
need to present that on the next one.
Yeah, it's one further. It's 8 presses to the right, I did 7. I know where I went wrong. It's okay. There we go. That's the
Yep.
statement. Okay.
Cody stated that he only recently received his camera, so he was really having his camera with him at. It would have been really likely to have that he has his camera with him during the time, especially since he wanted to catch a glimpse of the Steel Samurai. He now claims that he didn't. That he just that the victim just stopped moving, which is a bit vague, to be exact. I mean, stop moving? How? Why?
Yeah, so we're gonna press a little bit more information about out of him.
A samurai kick, a samurai punch would kill the victim? Well, that's not what happened. He missed the finishing blow. He's being vague, and we want to know why. And well, we can provide an explanation. He was obviously fumbling around with his camera. He had his camera only recently, so he probably wasn't that familiar with its function. So Cody was trying to take a picture and missed the finishing blow. And Cody claimed that he didn't manage to take a photo. However, Phoenix doesn't buy it, so basically he presses him into a confession.
I mean, he's kind of keeping a book of every single victory ever from the Steel Samurai.
Yeah. And why did it? So why did he erase the photos? I mean, if the samurai just won, he would have taken the picture for his book. However, at this point, we see the biggest twist of this case.
And this is where the case becomes interesting as well.
Indeed.
It's a fairly
This is the most
slow
awesome
case,
turnabout
but,
of this case, no doubt. Because the samurai didn't win. He fell down, he lost, he died. Cody saw the samurai lose, and he couldn't handle it. And Cody snaps, breaks down in tears, because it did happen. The samurai did lose.
But that means that the samurai wasn't the murderer. That means the samurai was the victim instead.
Indeed.
That's weird, because wasn't Will Powers on the stance right now?
Yeah. That would actually make would turn things around. That would mean that the one in the Steel Samurai suit would actually need to have been Jack Hammer. He knew about the injury, and nobody saw him go to the studios prior to the security lady. So he must have stolen the Steel Samurai suit and went inside. Well, Cody says he took another shot, actually, and he gives us a photo. It seems like a normal photo of the Steel Samurai. However,
Wait, something seems a bit off.
it seems off. What seems off is that there seems to be a large 2 on the wall. Clearly not a 1, as we... wrong spot.
I took the wrong 2.
Yeah.
Happens a lot. It's... I thought either worked, but...
Yeah, it doesn't.
It's one of those weird spots in the game where there's 2 contradictions, but it only accepts one of them.
Well, that 2 is mirrored, so to be fair.
Fair, okay. That is fair. Oh well.
Well, it turns out the crime scene was actually Studio 2, so that means all the alibis get switched around. That means that the director and producer at Studio 2, all the people at Studio 2 are the only ones who could have done it. Mainly because they're the only ones present on the scene, and that the scene was blocked by the monkey statue.
So now the question is, how did he get the costume? And that's where these pills that we found earlier came in.
They were sleeping pills.
They were sleeping pills, so we're gonna
Fingerprint
say,
bottle.
yeah, we're gonna say that the
Jackhammer, the victim did it.
The victim did it, or the victim dressed up as the Steel Samurai and he drugged the actual Steel Samurai, so to speak.
Yeah. So yeah, right now the trial has been adjourned for another day as we need more investigation. And the judge also asked Edgeworth to reconsider his stance on the case, as this, well, at this point it seems very unlikely that our defendant Will Powers actually did it. So right now Phoenix needs to find the killer real fast.
Yeah, because around here they actually have a bit of a weird rule. Every case has to end within 3 days.
Yeah.
So
it's a bit strange.
The story goes that, you know, they were flooding with cases and there was way too many to handle, so they decided to speed things up and meaning that every case would be solved within 3 days.
Yeah, that's contrary to modern juridical systems, I must add.
So, but yeah, because of that, we need to find the real killer real fast right about now.
So yeah, we're going on our investigation. So we're going to the employee area. However, Gumshoe's investigation, and he scares the living daylights out of Maya. He's examining the plates with the T-bone steaks, with some indicator to show if there had been sleeping drugs on the plate, and it actually has been. So that means that Will Powers was most likely drugged. Which really, well, looks good for us. Because that means our defendant is probably innocent. Penny is cleaning out Will Power's dressing room, and because the Steel Samurai show has been cancelled by the bigwigs, which is a real shocker to Maya. She also mentions that some accidents happened 5 years ago at studio, and that it was probably covered up. So yeah, Penny now tells us that 5 years ago something did happen, and that it was covered up by the bigwigs, and that Oldbeck, the security lady, probably knows about it. So yeah, let's go to her with this information. She's a big fan of Hammer and refuses to believe that he's done anything wrong. However, we have some proof that he stole Will Power's costume, so that he was actually a culprit, to say the least. So the security lady finally opens up to us. She says that Dee Vasquez used her connections to cover up the crime, and that she managed to snatch a photo of the accident that happens. Apparently an actor fell and died, and it was an accident between Jack Hammer, the victim, and another actor. So yeah, right now we're going to confront the Vasquez with this information, and she's not responding as usual. She's a bit of a stick in the mud. And obviously it's a wise idea to show our biggest ace evidence to, well, the person we suspect.
Clearly, and trust me, we're mentioning that now for a reason.
Yeah.
This will not be the first time, or this will not be the last time.
Yeah.
You'll see it soon enough.
Wow. And apparently she has some ties to the Mafia and she's trying to silence us. However, we're not done yet because Gumshoe saves the day. He's heard everything and he's taking her in. That was a close one, really.
Quite so.
Hey, trust me, this won't be the last time Phoenix and Maya do dumb stuff like this. So yeah, we now pretty much know who done it. So now we need to prove it.
Recalled. Okay, because I kind of need a time check at the end of this case.
Yeah.
It'll give me a rough idea of how my of what my time should be.
Yeah, I have a rough idea.
I've made quite a few minor mistakes, and I don't know how much slower console is to MU, so we'll see. It'll be okay though.
Yeah, right now D. Vasquez takes the stance. And she says, well, they did have a meeting at the trailer, they took a break, and they ate T-bone steak outside the trailer. However, there seems to be a little bit off about the statements. I mean, the plates at the employee area all had this nice little bone of the T-bone on it. However, the plates at the Studio 2 were bare, no bones left. So
That's
that
kind of
seems odd.
weird, eating a T-bone steak without a bone.
Well, or with a bone. That would
Or-
be even more weird.
Quite so.
So
Quite-
Phoenix claims that they didn't eat the steak. Actually, they were meeting the Steel Samurai and they probably threw their T-bone steaks inside the incinerator. And yeah, Phoenix Wright claims at this point that D. Vasquez killed the victim. And so now they proceed with a battle of wits, as they call it. She says that it's impossible for her to wield that steel samurai spear. However, Phoenix Wright claims that it's impossible as the steel samurai spear wasn't the murder weapon.
I mean, it was kind of duct taped together, and I mean, duct tape might be strong, and you can fix just about anything with it. But it doesn't really help if you're trying to kill somebody with it.
Yeah, especially if that someone is wearing a thick costume. So Phoenix Wright claims that the victim was killed in the same way as the actor died 5 years ago in the accident. He was pierced by the picket fence. The only thing that happened was that she pushed the samurai, the steel jackhammer down, and he fell on the fence and died. It's pretty ironic. Jackhammer dying in the same way as his victim did 5 years ago. Don't you think?
Quite so, quite so.
However, D. Vasquez claims that she wouldn't have had the time to hide the body. However, she claimed earlier that Sal had driven her with the studio van to Studio 1. And Phoenix claims that she used the van to move the body.
I mean, she only had like 15 minutes or something, but even then,
If she would have used the van, she would have way more time to hide. She had just hit the body in the fan and then drove to Studio One. At this point, Dean Vasquez calls it a good game. So does that mean we won? She says that she lost. Court falls silent, oddly. However, she says, well, you only proved the possibility. You don't have actually proven that she's done it. Well, even Edgeworth at this point isn't sure. We don't know what we can question her about. However, at this point, Edgeworth objects. Well, sort of. Tries again.
Basically, this is the first time where Edgeworth is gonna kind of turn with us here.
Yeah.
It's kind of weird, but he's gonna help us a little bit along the way.
Basically, she now testifies what happened after they found the body. And there are some odd statements here. And she went back to the trader to get her script. Why? She did forget the script. Why did she forget her script? She said, well, a murder did happen, so she didn't need it. However, this means that she knew about the murder beforehand, as Edgeworth points out. Wait, Edgeworth pointed that out?
Quite strange how the prosecutor is helping us here, but I guess we'll just go with it.
I call it a double cross-examination. It's so awesome. D. Vasquez now claims that Jackhammer couldn't do any action scenes because he was injured. However, she made the mistake there because Will Powers was the one injured, and Jackhammer only pretended to be Will Powers in the Steel Samurai suit. So he limped, and that's how she thought Jackhammer was injured. She must have met him. However, she claims that she had no motive to kill Jackhammer, as she pressured him to work for her for extremely low pay for the past 5 years over that accident. However, Phoenix counter presents the fact that it was not her that had a motive. Jackhammer was pressured to stoop to a low. He stole the samurai suit. Donation can go right now.
Feel free to do one. We've got a little bit of time. Okay, I mean, I guess we'll round up the case and you'll get a chance for a donation in just a bit. So basically, I mean,
Jackhammer was out to kill D. Vasquez, and the only thing she did was push him off the stairs in self-defense. So it was just a big accident. We hear a little flashback about 5 years ago, and it turns out that that actor was pretty close to D. Vasquez, or at least that's what's implied.
I think it's implied the two were lovers, actually, isn't it?
Yeah. It's a big tragedy.
It definitely is. I guess you can do a donation right now.
Yeah.
Alright, we have €1 from the Extra. Good luck to all the runners. This donation is for Undertale's file name being Rayman. Thank you so much, man.
Thank you, you.
So right now, we proved Will Powers innocent.
Can I get a time check in just a little bit? Just hold on for it. I'll give you a sign when.
And Edgeworth comes now to say, well, he doesn't want us to see us again, because we only serve to give him unnecessary feelings. Okay, sounds a bit weird, but sure. And Maya wants to know how we know Edgeworth. And Global Studios turned up with a new show, The Pink Princess. And Will Powers plays the role apparently. God knows why. So that's the end of case 3. So
Okay,
what's
can I
time at this point?
can I get a time check here? Okay, yeah, we're going over.
Okay.
I can tell you that now. This case takes roughly an hour, so... So yeah, with that, we're going into the last case that we're going to be doing. There is a 5th case, but it is a DLC case.
It's not required for this category.
Yeah, that's doing that one as well would add like another hour and a half, and it would be a separate category.
So yeah, this case starts peculiar. 2 men on a boat discussing the past. And someone talks about revenge. What? A gun.
Merry Christmas.
A person falls into the water.
Wait,
and the
what's
one
this?
holding the gun is
Edgeworth? That's quite the twist right there. Did Edgeworth just murder somebody?
Whoa. So yeah, it's Christmas. Maya's looking for some waterfalls for spirit medium training.
And we hear about Nessie on the news, or
The monster of the Gourd Lake. Yeah.
Gordy. It's basically like Nessie in the real world, like how we know, the Loch Ness monster.
The monster of Loch Ness. Yeah.
But instead, it's gonna be Gordy. We hear a bit about that on the news, and we also hear about Edgeworth being
arrested as a suspect in murder happening at that happened at Gourd Lake. Edgeworth isn't too happy to see us, at the very least. We just want to know what happens. Phoenix wants to defend him, because apparently he believes that Edgeworth is innocent. So yeah, we go to investigate on our own, to look for answers. Well, Gumshoe is working as the investigation team, alright. Well, and he thought for a second that we were actually defending Edgeworth already. However, Edgeworth refused us, so we're not representing him, currently at least. So yeah, Gumshoe tells us what happens. There were 2 men spotted in the boat. 2 shots were fired and the victim fell off the boat. And the other one in the boat was apparently Edgeworth. Or so it seems. So yeah, apparently they had a witness of this happening.
Yeah, we're just gonna ask him how we can stay in touch with him. I mean, other than that, it doesn't really matter much.
Yeah.
And we'll get moving.
To the public beach.
And we see something really interesting here that we're gonna grab that item real quick. I mean, they're party poppers. It's almost Christmas. Kinda fits the real world as well. It's almost Christmas. Let's make sure we celebrate.
It's indeed appropriate.
And so we're getting into the woods, and we're gonna meet, or we're gonna see this little camera right here. Need to make sure. I think we just do that.
We
right?
see a camera set up with a microphone, and the microphone is not really responding. Maya uses the poppers, and it does respond. It photographs an entire roll of film, photo film away. And we meet this loud lady called Lotta Hart. Lotta Hart. We mentioned that we investigated a murder.
See, as we do, she starts opening up a little bit, telling us a bit about what happened, which is kind of nice.
Yeah. And she is She says she's doing some star investigation, photographing the sky and stars. Sure.
I mean, sure, I'll take it.
And Maya asks if she might have captured something that has to do with the murder on film, as the camera responds to loud noises, like for example, gunshots.
Gunshot would make a fairly loud noise, I'd imagine. So we're gonna talk to Dick Gumshoe. He's gonna tell us a little bit about this case, about the fact that Edgeworth still doesn't have a defense attorney. He trusts that Edgeworth didn't do it, but
Yeah.
it's
And Gumshoe talks a little bit about his professional relationship with Edgeworth. That is a matter of trust. Him providing the evidence and Edgeworth using it to find the guilty party.
and so with that, we're gonna get the autopsy report, and we're gonna move back towards the woods. So Lotta, she did some investigating about that loud noise that we were talking about, and whether she may have had a picture of it or not. And she actually does.
Yeah.
The camera did indeed capture the loud noise, and well,
And turns out she saw the murder happen, so she's going to turn herself in as a witness. So yeah, that's really not helping Edgeworth's case here, for now.
actually no, because you know it kind of seems kind of convincing like this. Just another witness to add to the witness they already had. It's looking kind of bleak.
Indeed. And here we find Santa at the beach. Or is it Santa?
It looks like Santa.
And he calls him Nick. Turns out.
It's Larry.
Yeah.
Oh, you know what they say about Larry, right?
When something smells.
It's usually the buds. I mean, we've said it before at the start of the run, but Larry nowadays sells samurai dogs right here.
He says he sells them that his girlfriend got him the job. Maya says, "Oh, did you spend Christmas last time with your girlfriend?" Well, he didn't. He was dumped again. Sad story.
Yeah, Larry, he's got a good record of being dumped by girls.
Yeah.
Poor guy, honestly.
He's selling samurai dogs.
He's actually about to rename them to gourd dogs.
They were originally gourd dogs, but he got more. He sold them more of them if he sold them as samurai dogs.
Wasn't it the other way around because of Gordy? I don't know. It doesn't really matter much.
It is Gourd Lake.
True, but we get to hear a little bit about Gordy and, you know,
It
everything
is
that's
the
been
way
going
I
on.
said. Trust me. Anyways.
Yeah, it's all good. It's
with-
been a long time since I did this casually.
With all the Gordy business, there have been a lot of visitors to the lake anyways. So we get an article about the Gordy sighting. And Maya actually recognizes the victim mentioned in the autopsy report. He once worked for Grossberg, Marvin Grossberg. Well, he actually knows who the guy is. Turns out it's Robert Hammond, a former lawyer of the Grossberg office. Robert Hammond was the defense attorney in the DL6 case.
We've heard about the DL6 very briefly during
Case 2?
During case 2. Apparently it's some case that happened 15 years ago where the people got stuck in an elevator and nobody actually saw who killed them. So they ended up summoning a spirit using Maya's and Mia's mother.
However, she apparently summoned the wrong, or apparently the spirit didn't identify the correct perpetrator, so yeah, they got it wrong, apparently.
So it turns out that the victim during DL6 was actually Edgeworth's father, and 15 years ago during an earthquake they got stuck in an elevator. And as they were running out of oxygen, they fell unconscious, and when they woke up, Edgeworth's father had been shot.
Yeah. The suspect was a security guard working at the court house who was in the lift together with Edgeworth and his father.
Yeah, the only people in the elevator were Edgeworth's father, and that guy, the security guard, the court bailiff.
Yeah, right now they experience an earthquake and Edgeworth cowers in fear under the table as he's still traumatized by the event.
However, Edgeworth did now accept to become his lawyer, so...
Apparently we
we'll
found out
defend him
so
in
much
case.
that we, well, might as well defend him.
Now, there's one little issue in this next bit. Apparently the prosecutor is going to be Manfred von Karma. Another really good prosecutor. He's been in the business for 40 years, only ever took one holiday, and he's never lost a case in the course of those 40 years, so... This guy...
Edgeworth calls him a god.
This was also the mentor of Edgeworth. Like, if you imagine Edgeworth, which we've seen in the past 2 cases already, but then like 10 times worse.
Well, we're gonna see soon as the trial will start now. Oh, well, we see this intimidating presence on the prosecutor bench. And he's just commanding the judge around, basically. So Gumshoe now gives an overview for the case.
So basically what supposedly happened is 2 men were on the boat. They sailed back with the boat. They have the fingerprints of Edgeworth on the gun.
Yeah.
You know, it's pretty easy because there were only 2 people on the boat. It's not much more to it.
Yeah. Basically, Von Karma fulfills the role of the judge, say.
So yeah, we're gonna skip through the first few statements. We don't really care about it.
The murder weapon.
I think I may have missed one statement. We'll see.
Fingerprints of Edgeworth were on the murder weapon.
Yeah, I skipped one statement. This one. That'll do. Gets us some information about the bullet.
Yeah. The ballistic markings matched the gun, so basically the gun was used to commit the murder, and Edgeworth's prints are on it, so it looks pretty decisive.
So yeah, we'll take a short recess, and during this reset, Maya's gonna ask if she can sit just on the bench. And we're gonna ask her to stay with us.
Yeah.
She's like, I can't do much for you because I can't summon Mia. She hasn't been able to summon any spirits lately. She's been trying to, but to no avail.
So right now, the next witness will be Lotta Hart, the woman we met at the campsite. Oh well. Lotta and Von Karma are a bit squabbling around before she gives her testimony. There was one shot, she looked up. There was another shot and one man fell into the lake. And her camera captured the moment, so to say.
Seems pretty straightforward, right?
Well, the testimony is, well...
It's pretty solid, and so we want to cross-examine, but Von Karma is like, okay, you know what, we'll make a deal. If you can't find anything, you'll be held in contempt of court.
Yeah.
Basically leaving Edgeworth without defense. At that point, it's basically done.
Yeah.
So we're just gonna press everything here, except for like the first statement.
Yeah. She was there for research. What research? Well...
That one.
Yeah, that's good.
So near the end of this one, I actually need to be really careful. This is one of the few days where you can literally kill a run. Like, this is a case where you can very easily game over. So I'll be careful not to.
Yep. Yeah, Von Karma is basically throwing a wall of objections at us. She says she scanned the whole lake. And we didn't actually find anything useful.
Thus, will be held in contempt of court, as we already agreed to.
However, Maya speaks up.
We have time for a quick donation if you want to.
Alright, we have a €4 donation from Rikel saying, "Morning." Thank you, man.
So, instead of being held in contempt of court, Lana actually made a new statement right there, and we're gonna use that statement to...
Yeah, she says she saw the defendant clear as day.
Yeah, so, you know, we're gonna press on that statement. Maya, however, will be held in contempt of court because, you know...
She spoke up.
She spoke up. Completely out of turn. It's not what she's supposed to do. But it's fine, we got something out of it.
And just as Phoenix Wright says, finally. Gotcha. There was a lot of fog that night, so the statement that she clearly saw them, well, is a bit far-fetched to be, to put it blunt.
So she mentions that she had some binoculars with her. That in and of itself was enough.
Well...
I mean...
She said, Phoenix Wright mentions it's strange for someone who's looking at the stars to have binoculars with him.
It is quite strange, isn't it? So
Because she was supposedly looking at a meteor shower. And also the fact that she has a camera set up triggered on sound, which is really strange if you want to photograph a meteor shower, as well, there's not really much noise involved.
Exactly. Not to mention, it wasn't exactly facing up.
That as well.
So we're gonna claim that she was instead not looking for the stars, she was looking for Gordy. And we have proof of this. That's basically the camera itself. It was set up for a loud noise. So what we figure is, you know, instead of looking at, you know, the boat, she would be looking around the lake scanning for Gordy.
Yeah. So she claims she actually missed anything. Von Karma is trying to hide that she made an enlargement.
Yeah, we'll get to that real soon.
well.
We'll get to that real soon.
Just made a slight slip up. My bad.
Running ahead just a bit, but that's okay.
Lotta did claim that she wasn't supposed to say anything on command of Von Karma. Lotta claims she watched the boat the whole time, but however...
Not quite. Also, I'm gonna have to really pay attention in a little bit. This is the part where you can very easily kill a run if you're not paying attention. Not to mention, my items are in a different order because I got the bullet after the gun. So my menuing is gonna be a bit off here. Need to keep that in mind real close, otherwise I'm going to make a mistake. And that can easily kill a run here. So we're gonna make her show the enlargement, and I need to tell her, and I need to object on the next statement. If I don't object, the run is over. That's how easy. Like this next statement is basically if I select the wrong option on the next one, it's done.
Yeah.
We're gonna get that enlargement, and we're gonna be objecting to it real fast.
Yeah.
So Fun Karma is being like, I didn't want her to show it because it's a waste of time and we don't really need it. So yeah, one of the options here is wait and see, and that's run over. If you tap that, and I have tapped it in a run before, it's instantly over.
Oh, there is something wrong with this photo. Edgeworth's right hand fingerprints are on the weapon. However, this photo clearly shows a man holding a weapon in his left hand.
So by definition, that means that Edgeworth's fingerprints on the gun aren't actually evidence anymore. I mean, he touched the gun, that's for sure, but he wasn't the one to shoot.
Yeah, basically right now they're at this. Basically right now they're at a standstill. So Phoenix Wright claims that the victim committed suicide. However, Von Karma states this is impossible as no gunpowder burns were found.
Can you get Kinnan? This thing needs power, I think.
Ja, die houdt het nog wel even vol, maar ik zou inderdaad...
Yeah, if we can play it safe.
Yeah, so right now they need more investigation to obtain, well, in order to make a proper judgment. Sorry for the noise, adjusting a little bit. Kan niet goed zitten. Okay. Yeah, wait. Is it plugged in?
It's plugged.
Yeah.
It's plugged. Don't worry.
Oranje lampje eerst niet. Sorry.
We good. Just making sure that the thing has enough power to last it through the run. Better just play it safe, shall we?
Yeah, so right now we're going to investigate Gord Lake again.
First off, we're going to talk to Mr. Gumshoe again.
And it turns out, actually, Edgeworth got pretty emotional as Maya stood up for him. And Von Karma is going to come with his other witness next morning, next trial.
Supposedly Lotta wasn't the witness they were talking about originally. It was another witness, and that one's going to show up tomorrow. So that could be bad for us.
Yeah.
I mean, if that one witness wasn't enough to convince him.
Yep. And Edgeworth actually posted the bill for Maya, which is really a nice gesture, if you ask me. Isn't it?
It definitely is. It definitely is. So we're gonna meet Lotta again, and Lotta, she's gonna make us a deal. If we give her information about Gordy, she's gonna give us some information that'll help us with our case.
Yeah, she calls it making it up, but basically she says, I want some information first. So yeah. Up to no good again.
Now, luckily, there is Gumshoe, and he's very willing to help us to find whoever did it, you know, because he wants to prove Edgeworth innocent, and he's gonna help us get some secret weapons here. He's got 3 very special secret weapons that we can use.
Yeah. He got 3 secret weapons.
So the first one is missile. It's a K9. The second one is fishing pole. And the third one is a metal detector. We're gonna pick the metal detector here. We'll be using that secret weapon quite a few times actually. And with quite a few, I mean like twice, but hey.
Yeah, it's gonna be a major help, I can say that at least. And something changed about this scene, don't you think?
Yeah, I don't think I've seen that doll in the back before. It might just be me.
I see the Belgian flag, I see no Dutch flag on that flag chain.
That's kind of bad. We need more Dutch flags
kind
on
of
it.
sad.
Yeah, it is. And
And
as we enter this area, the metal detector goes off, and we find some air tank. Well, you know what we've said a few times already, right? When something smells,
it's usually the butts.
it's really a recurring thing. And you know, Larry is. We're gonna make sure that Larry tells us that that air tank was his. I mean, the flags were all over it. It's kind of a thing here.
Yeah, it turns out he tried to inflate the doll with it, and the doll took off with the tank. Must have been a really spectacular scene.
Quite so. But yeah, that it just so happened that that flying air tank was Gordy.
Spoiled a little bit too soon.
Slightly, but you know, a loud noise went off as it fell into the lake.
2 weeks prior.
So we'll talk to Lotta about Gordy here, because we pretty much now know that that air tank is the noise that she heard. Also, Maya sneezed, the camera goes off all the way. Another roll of film gone.
Yeah.
So we're gonna tell her that Gordy actually doesn't exist, and we have
Yeah.
evidence for it.
Also, to respond to chat, the missile that Kirby Master uses is from Ghost Trick, another great game by Capcom, by the way. Yeah, it turns out the doll with air tank landing into the water after the noise accidentally got caught on camera, and people thought it was a lake monster. Well, Lotta is a bit disheartened at this news.
But she tells us who the other witness is. It turns out there's some other guy there. It also turns out there's a second, like the camera made a second photo, but there wasn't actually anything on it. It's quite interesting that there is a second photo. I believe if we were to check the photo, it's of like 15 minutes before midnight, so like 25 minutes before the murder. It's kind of strange, but let's not think too much of it, I guess. Oh, we meet this guy. He's a bit of a weird guy, that's for sure.
Yeah. He's acting a little bit, well, confused, not knowing what he's exactly doing.
He's like, if you want the parrot to talk, you'll need to say her name first.
And he's... Well, go ahead for a donation.
Yeah, sure. We'll be talking to this guy for a while, so...
Alright, we have actually 18 euro donation from Shady Salesman's 1 that also donated that money towards the character name Shady for Lufia The Ruins of Lore. And we have another donation from the Xterra, 4 euros, actually donating for the character name for Undertale for Rayman. So now Rayman took the lead again by 1 euro. So yeah, get your donations in and get your name chosen. Thank you for the donations.
So yeah, basically this guy, he's kind of crazy. He tells us about what we see, but only after we promise to run the noodle, which is this boat shop thing.
Fictional pasta shop, he thinks.
Yeah, he thinks it's a pasta shop, but hey.
Yeah.
We're also gonna ask him about Polly real quick, and we're gonna ask specifically for the number of the safe. And the parrot actually just tells us it's 1228. Just keep that number in the back of your head. And as soon as we ask her, have we forgotten anything, it says,
Don't forget DL6.
don't forget about DL6. And we have heard that case name quite a few times more already, which is quite strange that the parrot happens to know that.
Yeah, something is up with that case. So right now we ask Gumshoe about DL6. He's a policeman, so he obviously is in a position to tell us. Also, guys, light.
That's all right. So we're gonna also quickly ask him about the DL6 case specifically. And he's gonna give us access to the record room, which is let's see if we can find something in here.
So yeah, we grab a few things like a case summary.
I mean, we've heard the name DL6 quite a few times over the course of this this case, so we figure it might be smart to read up a little bit. And it basically tells us what we know. An earthquake quake happened in the courthouse, basically causing a blackout, making 3 people get stuck in the elevator. Specifically, Gregory Edgeworth, Miles Edgeworth, the current suspect, as well as the court bailiff, Yanni Yogi.
And Robert Hammond was Yanni Yogi's defense attorney, and he got his client acquitted on account of insanity.
Yeah, so by now, like the case itself has gone cold. Nobody actually got convicted for the murder.
So right now we're at the second trial. And Von Karma makes a bold claim, namely that the trial will end in 3 minutes from now, or 5 minutes from now.
3 minutes, yes. So this day supposedly is only going to take 3 minutes. Let's see if we can get through those 3 minutes then. Hopefully by that point we'll have proven Edgeworth innocent and it's all over. That's what we're doing, right?
Yeah, that's what we're going for. And this guy hasn't told us who he is, but apparently he can't remember.
Yeah, supposedly this guy suffers from memory loss, so he doesn't recall anything outside of the past few years. So he tells us about what we hear. Basically the same story. 2 gunshots. One and then not too long after a second one. He saw the man come out of the lake and he recognized him as Edgeworth.
Basically, Von Karma wants to skip the cross-examination as he wants his guilty verdict in 3 minutes. Well, he's not gonna get it.
Well, rip the 3-minute goal. That's unfortunate.
And
this is where the man basically just tells us that, you know, it was Edgeworth that he saw.
And Edgeworth claims, I can't believe he did that. Well... At this point, it's pretty game over for us.
Yeah, it's pretty much over. So, I guess it's about ready then.
Yeah.
What time are we at, Recalled? That seems a little early then.
Yeah.
Maybe we're not quite done yet. Well,
yeah, we now get
our guilty verdict. Edgeworth is quote unquote proven guilty here, or is he?
You know it, when something smells...
It's usually the buds, and just as that happens, Larry decides to run into the courtroom. Because he said he was there. He heard the gunshot as well. And this is a window of opportunity for us, because Von Karma didn't actually get a chance to cross it, or to prepare Larry beforehand. So this might just be our chance. The judge gives us a break and tells us, you know, everybody has to be heard. It's the only way we can know for sure. So he gives us the last opportunity, and we get a quick recess here.
Yeah. And Edgeworth notes upon this opportunity. turns out Larry was looking for the air balloon on the lake at the night of the murder.
So yeah, so far our 15-minute break. Let's go back into court, see what happens.
For Karma calls it a colossal waste of time. And Larry testified that he heard a single gunshot. Well, that seems a little bit off. I mean, basically Lotta heard two.
That's kind of weird that Larry heard only one, where Lotta heard two, and both the old man and Lotta said they heard two as well, so that kind of contradicts the rest of it. And he tells us he wasn't quite sure because he was listening to the radio. There might have been a second one that he missed.
Well, Larry said that he was pretty sure he heard one shot because the DJ was talking at the time on the radio, so no loud drumming noise.
Feel free to read a donation if you want to.
Alright, we have €6.01 donation from Midnight saying €100 PogChamp. Thanks for the runs, DXterra and Crrool. Also, that €6 goes towards the name of Undertale being Xander, but he just got overtaken already by Shady Salesman because he donated €14 towards the Undertale name being Shady. So he's taking the lead, and his comment says, wait, because Mr. Mean Mustache because Mr. Mean Mustache thinks that I need to buy names, might as well try a second one. So yeah, thank you so much for those donations, and get the bid wars going because we only have like 20 minutes to go in this run, so get them in.
So yeah, I'll quickly recap about what just happened. Larry mentioned that the time he heard the gunshot was before midnight. The DJ actually said that it was like almost Christmas, so him having heard it before midnight kind of contradicts everything we've heard, because the testimony from both of the other people said it was like 15 minutes after midnight. So apparently there was another gunshot before midnight that we didn't know about. That being said, it starts raising suspicions as to what actually happened here.
However, Phoenix believes that Larry actually heard what Larry said was true.
Yeah, which we're actually gonna try to kind of explain what would happen in a scenario where that third gunshot that we didn't know about was actually shot. So we're gonna claim that instead of Edgeworth and the victim being on the boat, it was Edgeworth and the murderer. And this kind of throws the entire case around, because at this point we believe that the one that was the murderer, we don't know the name of him, because he never told us.
Yeah.
Instead, the murder didn't take place on the lake, it took place at the boat shack.
Which would be logical, as Larry was just passing by the boat shop as he heard the gunshot.
So what we claim is that Larry, he went out looking, he came back and heard a gunshot at the boat shop. Then 25 minutes later, the murderer and Edgeworth both got on a boat, and you know, the murderer shot. First time he purposely missed to create a witness, then shot again, and then dropped himself into the lake, so that it would seem as if that the other guy on the boat would would have been the murderer.
And afterwards he would have dumped the body of Robert Hammond in the lake to complete the picture.
So we're gonna get the boat shop caretaker back onto the stands, see what he has to say about this hypothetical scenario. Because the scenario would make sense, and it would make sense that if there was a gunshot before midnight, that this could actually be a thing.
Edgeworth confirms Phoenix's theory that it's exactly what happens. However, the boat shop caretaker seems to be missing.
He supposedly disappeared.
Disappeared into thin air.
And with that, we're going to close day 2. We're going to move on to the last day of the game. One more day of investigation, one more day in court.
Yeah, and Edgeworth tells us that he has something to tell us, namely that he has a memory of committing a crime. Interesting. Maya seems a bit troubled by what Edgeworth says. What does he mean by this? And Larry butts in once again.
I mean, Larry kind of saved the day, so I guess we should thank him. And this is also where that memory from the past of Phoenix comes up. Turns out that Larry, Edgeworth, and Phoenix, actually, they all knew each other. Quite a few years ago, back when they were still children, money got stolen during a gym class. And because Phoenix wasn't able to actually join the class, he got blamed for it. They held a court in, or like a case in the classroom.
Yep.
And everybody was like, he did it. And even the teacher was like, okay, just pay back the money, alrighty. Then Edgeworth actually stood up, being like, you guys don't have any proof that he did it. And not too long after Edgeworth, so did Larry. Ever since then, the three of them became buddies. And that's what got Phoenix to become a lawyer to begin with. Ever since that day, he wanted to become a defense attorney.
And Edgeworth wanted to become a defense attorney as a kid as well.
Yeah, striving to do the same thing his father did.
And Phoenix wanted to meet Edgeworth again, so that's why he decided to become a defense attorney. Talking about devotion.
Yeah, Phoenix figured, you know, if he were to become a defense attorney, they'd have to meet in court at some point.
Yeah.
So one way or another, they would have to meet again.
And Gumshoe promises that he'd do his best to capture the boat caretaker, as he wants to see Edgeworth acquitted as well, as he is innocent. And right at the boat shop, we meet Grossberg for some reason.
Yeah, he's taking his daily stroll or something. So when we get to the house, nobody's actually home, but we figure, you know, this might be a good time to examine that safe. Polly will tell us the number again, 1228, very important number.
The safe is a letter.
It's actually a very specific letter. It pretty much tells about exactly what we figured out in court today. There were handwritten instructions as to how to commit the murder.
Yeah.
So we're going to show Edgeworth this letter. See what it is to say about it.
And Edgeworth seems to recognize the handwriting.
He doesn't remember who it's from, but it does mention that this is the last chance to take revenge on the two people that ruined his life. So,
Hammond being one of them and Ashford probably being the other.
which is quite interesting because this is actually like this, like tomorrow, so to speak, as in the day after this one, is the last day before the DL6 incident reaches its statute of limitations. The point in time where, you know, exactly, it gets closed, and from that point on, nobody can be convicted for it anymore.
Tells about a dream he has been having.
Specifically of that day in the elevator, just before he fainted, he threw a gun because the two of them were fighting, and he's like, he threw the gun as a kid in the attempt to try and stop them from fighting. And just as he passed out, he heard a gunshot and a scream.
But Ashford thinks he thinks he might actually kill his father with that. It's just an accident.
Hold on, I'm going the wrong way here. That one. That's okay.
We'll get there.
We'll get there. It's actually, my notes say the third option, it's the fourth one. It's actually a mistake in my notes. Wait, why can I... Okay, hold on. Detention center. Move. The third one, Criminal Affairs Department. And then... Did I miss something?
No,
I missed some...
Yeah. Take the fourth option. No, the fourth option of locations move.
Oh, of course, yeah. I kind of skipped through a bit of my notes there and got lost. That's okay. That was kind of dumb of me. No, I wasn't. Like I was reading like 3 lines below what I needed to do. It's like, wait, why can't I access the record room? That's where I'm supposed to go. Bit of confusion striking there, but hey. So we're gonna present this guy the letter. And he recognizes the handwriting as well. We're gonna take a guess as to who the handwriting is from, and we're gonna claim that it's from Manfred von Karma. He actually recognizes that to be true.
Oh, that means von Karma actually tried to frame Benelux. What a plot twist.
Talk.
And it turns out Gregory Edgeworth had a trial versus Von Karma. He managed to get Von Karma a penalty. And afterwards, Von Karma took a really long vacation. Which was a bit uncharacteristic of the man, because he hardly took a vacation, a break.
He never actually took a vacation after it. See, this is where I needed to go, what I'm doing now. Like I said, I was slightly too far ahead in my notes. With a game that's literally 2.5 hours of menuing, that can happen at times.
So apparently someone has been snooping around the criminal records room, and we run into Von Karma. And we mentioned Phoenix and Maya being done presenting their ace cards to the person they suspect. Well,
this is another example of it. So Von Karma, he pulls up a taser, 600,000 volts, and
Maya and Phoenix are down.
He's gonna pretty much just shock us and steal the letter.
And the evidence.
And the evidence. Well, it's like the only piece of it. Like he's
DL6 evidence.
the DL6 evidence, but it's We'll be able to keep one piece though. Maya was quick enough. She grabbed one piece.
A bullet.
So we'll keep that bullet in the back, and we'll go into the last day of court, and with that, the last segment of the game.
It's a long one.
It's rather long, but it's not that bad.
Turns out Maya and Phoenix are still a bit charged.
Completely defies every law of physics, but hey, we'll take it.
But it has helped Gumshoe to wake up. And he found the caretaker, actually. So that's a good thing.
So here we go. Last day. So this is quite an interesting day of court. There's a lot of stuff going to happen here. Basically, at this point, we need to prove that this guy does indeed have a reason to hold a grudge. Like, he needs some kind of motive. And that's basically what he says here. He doesn't have a motive, so he figured it was, you know, he might as well leave.
At this point, Phoenix and should suspect he's Yanni Yogi, the defendant in the DL6 case.
Yeah, but we kind of need actual evidence for it.
So yeah, Phoenix tries to, well, propose... propose that it's Yanni Yogi.
So we're going to claim that everything he says is a lie, and that he does have a motive, and that he does know his name. And that name is Yanni Yogi. We also propose that, you know, there's a very easy way to figure out. Just take his fingerprints. Compare it to DL6, they have the records for it, so...
However, there's a little bit of a problem.
Apparently this guy doesn't have any fingerprints.
Burned him off at a chemical plant, supposedly. Yeah, we don't have anything to go on. Although, Karma jokingly suggests
We cross-examine the parrot, because we might as well. And I mean, Von Karma suggested it, so he can object all he wants, but it was his idea. We might as well go through with it. So, let's go. And this is not a joke, we are going to cross-examine the parrot. There he is, this is Polly. Polly definitely wants a cracker. So we're basically just gonna press here.
Yeah.
And we could just ask about, you know, is there anything we forgot? But Vern Karma was smart enough to make sure that the parrot would not say that.
He retrained the parrot, basically.
So instead we're gonna ask for the safe number. Like I said, 1228, and that's going to matter.
Because it stands for 1228, which is
Okay, summary.
which is the date the DL6 incident happened. Also the current date, as they're 20 years later.
15 years. Today is 15 years past exactly, which is why the statute of limitations is today. We're gonna ask for her name next. And of course that's going to matter.
Her name is Polly.
Polly, that doesn't seem too relevant, does it?
I guess again.
Because again, that name does show up in the case files, specifically on the suspect data, as it's the name of the fiancé of Yanni Yogi. So, I mean, they're both coincidences, but together they're starting to make a case here.
And the judge presses the caretaker to reveal his name. Karma tries to object, however...
Yanni Yogi, for the first time in 15 years, actually stands up straight and confesses. He is indeed Yanni Yogi. He is indeed the one that killed Robert Hammond in exactly the way that we that we described. He mentions that he got a letter. He didn't know from whom, but the plan was good. And he went through with it.
So that means...
Case done. Let's go. I guess time is coming up then, if the case is done.
Yeah, well... Is it?
It must be. It must be. I mean, we're gonna get that outro still. And then after that, we're done. Oh, wait. Edgeworth?
No, we aren't.
Why are you objecting? So Edgeworth figures, you know, this is the time to confess for DL6. We're gonna leave it to him, we can object, but it only wastes more time. And, you know, we're still trying to go fast. So he's going to testify about the DL6 incident here. About the dream that he's been having. Statute of limitations is today, so we'll have to be fast.
Yeah. And we're prepared for it anyways.
Well, I mean, we have the case file. We know what... we're basically, during the break, we're reading through it. And we're going to be the ones defending Edgeworth here.
And Phoenix tries to prove it was just a bad dream. Or nothing less.
So here we go. So we're gonna get some testimony here. He's basically gonna tell about his dream again. About the scream he heard, about the gunshot, about him throwing the gun. And we're gonna object here. And specifically, we're gonna mention the fact that only one gunshot, and we know, we on the photo, you can see that there is kind of a second bullet hole. We're gonna propose that the gunshot Edgeworth shot went through there. And this kind of matches up with what the documents say. Yes.
As the case the data on the weapon shows that the gun was actually fired twice.
Yeah, that means there might very well be a second bullet.
No single clue was found on the scene, so no second bullets. Strange.
So now the question is, where did the second bullet go? We don't really have an objection, but we're gonna raise one anyway. We don't really know why yet, though. We're still trying to figure this out as we go along. And then we see a quick vision of Mia saying that, you know, the bullet must exist.
Someone took it, she said. Phoenix now boldly claims that the murderer took the bullet from the scene.
But what if the murderer didn't actually need to take it? What if he had to? Mia is basically saying, think out of the box here, like way out of the box. We're gonna claim that what if, instead, the one that got shot, because Edgeworth did hear a scream, was the murderer. So the pistol discharges and the murderer got shot. Oh, door opens, and the murderer shoots Gregory Edgeworth.
And now Maya comes up with a crazy theory. What if it was not Wright?
Yeah, I mean, that letter was his. We know that he has something to do with this, but we don't really know what. So what if Von Karma did it? It's kind of a ludicrous suggestion, but we can actually try to prove this. We're going to show some evidence. We know that right after the incident, he took a very long holiday. He'd be Edgeworth already mentions that he would be too perfect to leave a witness, so he wouldn't have gotten surgery, which means that the bullet would still be in his shoulder. So we're going to present the metal detector here. We're going to claim, you know, if that is the case, the bullet would still be in his shoulder. We can use the metal detector to make sure that there's something there. If there is, all we need to do is remove it, compare the ballistics, and we're pretty much done. The ballistics we're going to come to in a little bit. This is where that one piece of evidence from Maya comes in.
Here and today.
So yeah, the judge, he gives us permission. We do hear a beep. Von Karma, however, he's going to claim that the bullet was from a different incident. This is where that bullet comes in, because there is a way to know that they are the same thing, solely by comparing the ballistics with the bullet that we already have. Or the ballistic markings, that's what I mean. Thank you.
The one piece of evidence that Von Karma didn't got his hands on.
And with that, we show the bullet, and we close the case.
And now for the most epic breakdown.
So basically what happened during Deal 6 is what we've pretty much just been figuring out. Edgeworth threw the gun, he shot, the bullet hit Von Karma, and then when the door opened, Von Karma saw Gregory Edgeworth and shot him.
Edgeworth recognized the scream Von Karma makes was the scream he heard. Gunshot fired.
So it was quite literally just a bad dream. It's like roughly 2 minutes left now, so we're all... Yeah, I figured I'd go over.
Yeah,
I underestimated the run quite a bit. That's part on me. I made a few mistakes, but I also didn't consider how much slower it is to actually run on an actual DS instead of MU. I guess that had quite an impact as well. That's okay though.
yeah, Von Karma was hated Edgeworth. His father got him a penalty on his perfect record, and Edgeworth left him with a bullet scar that wouldn't fade.
So yeah, there is one objection coming up, and as soon as we scream that objection, that's when time is. Just so you know, it'll be at like almost the start of the credits, basically. So
It's still at least 2 minutes away. So yeah, right now, happy cheers, case ends.
yeah, we're basically gonna get some backstory at the end here, and then it's pretty much done. Just gonna close everything off here. Don't you worry about it, Shady. We'll be back on track in no time. If only because there's a setup buffer soon enough, and
Yeah.
you know, worst comes to worst, we'll sack that.
Turns out Larry actually stole money all those years ago.
Yeah, that money during the classroom trial, it was Larry. Because you know, we have a saying around here: when something smells.
It's usually nuts.
How many times have we said that by now?
At least 5 times.
Yeah, something like that.
So yeah, no notes needed for this part. We had one little scene. Maya felt guilty. She couldn't really help during this case.
So she actually took a train so that she could get her
Spirit medium train.
her training. So this is where we can present one last object to cheer her up. This is where we are supposed to show the bullet, but it's faster to just show the badge. You ready, buddy?
Oh baby, I'm ready for this.
Get ready.
Stand up and stand up.
Objection! So yeah, that was Phoenix Wright. Thank you, Boxmeister, for helping me on commentary today. Thank you for lending me the game so that I could even run it. Quick shout out to Kinnan for for borrowing me his 3DS so that I could run, so that I have a console to run it on.